Hi, I'm Katie Boyer. I'm the instructor for this section of English 102 at Jefferson State. I'm going to be missing the first few days of the semester, so I wanted to make a video to give you a little orientation to the course, to let you know what to expect from this semester from me and what I'm going to be expecting from you. So we're going to do a couple of things in the next few minutes. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we go over in 102, the course objectives, that kind of thing. And then we're going to take a look at the syllabus for the course, which you should have received when you went to class on the first day, but which you can also find posted under the syllabus link at the other side of the page in your Blackboard course. So make sure you've got that in front of you because we'll be going over some of those details. So let's begin with an overview of the content of the course for this semester. Most of you who are in this class, probably all of you, have taken English 101. So this is the second in our composition series here at Jeff State, and this second course sort of builds on the skills that you learned in English 101. So you have to have a C or higher in 101 to get into 102. So that means that coming into this course, I expect you to already have the skills that you learned in 101 kind of under control. And 101 is sort of our basic course, and then this one is the intermediate. So we're going to build on 101 and 102. So we're going to devote an entire class meeting to a review of the skills from 101. But if you already know that you feel shaky about your basic composition skills, things like a thesis statement, topic sentences, citing evidence, those sorts of things, then you might want to leave yourself some extra time to review those skills before we actually get into writing the essays in 102. If you had me for 101, you've probably heard me give a speech about how writing is a life skill, and that's how I approach it when I teach 101 and 102. No matter kind of what we do in life, we have to be able to communicate with other people in order to have successful relationships and to kind of accomplish our goals. So the things that we focus on in 102 are designed to sort of help make us more effective communicators in the world at large. So we do a lot of analysis of literary works. In 101 we focused on short stories. In 102 it's going to be plays, dramas, and poetry. But the discussions that we have about these literary works are designed to help build critical thinking skills so that you can sort of read between the lines in the literature. And then we take the literature and begin to build a response to it, and that's what the essays are all about. So all of the essays are designed to help you kind of narrow down a single idea, a single argument, a single thesis, and then to practice supporting that single idea with evidence from the text. So even though we read a lot of literature and we talk about a lot of literature, it all kind of fits together into this one goal to help make us more effective readers and then more effective communicators. So by the end of the semester, I hope that your communication skills will be strengthened. And in 102, we also have this extra added ingredient of doing a research paper. So that's one way that 102 is more complicated than 101. And a lot of people sort of get intimidated when they hear that word research paper, and granted, a research paper is a lot more complex. There are more steps that you have to take than when you just write a simple essay. But the way I have the course set up, every single thing we do in the beginning of the semester is going to help you acquire a skill that you'll need when you put together the research paper at the end of the semester. So it won't kind of come on you all at once. Everything we do over the course of the semester is designed to help you feel confident and comfortable when you do the research paper at the end. Alright, so now we're going to get down to the details of what we'll call the rules of the game, what I expect from you over the course of the semester. So you should have printed out or from your attendance in class a copy of the course syllabus. So we're just going to start at the top with contact information from me. So Katie Boyer, that's me. Ms. Boyer is fine as a form of address. The meeting room will fill in from your schedule. I'm not 100% sure on those as of the making of these videos, but you can fill it in. The meeting times are, if you're in the Tuesday-Thursday class, from 12:30 to 2:30, if you're in the Monday-Wednesday class, from 10:15 to 12:15. So there's a little bit different schedule in the summer than in the fall and the spring that you need to be aware of. In the summer, the classes actually meet for 2 hours at a time, and we've got to cover the same amount of material. So please be prepared to be in class on time and to stay for the entire 2 hours. I will give you a break of about 5 minutes somewhere in the middle of each class meeting, but if you work, if you have kids, if there's anything else that's going on in your life outside of class, make sure you've got the full 2 hours each time class meets to be here, because I am going to keep you pretty busy. So there's some contact information from me on here, where you can find me and how to get in touch with me outside of class. I do have an office in the same building where our class meets. I'm in BDH room 215. That's the room kind of right in between the men's and the women's restrooms. It looks like it might not be anything, but that's actually my office. So I have office hours, and those are the times when you can just drop by my office. If you have a question about an essay, if you are unsure of something that you've read in class, or if you just want to pick up an assignment or drop off an assignment, then I'll be available during my office hours for you to do that. And I'll post those hours once my schedule gets a little bit more settled. I'll post those on an announcement in our Blackboard course. So there are 2 ways on here for you to get in touch with me outside of class. One is my Jeff State email address. It's kboyer@jeffstateonline.com. That's probably the best way to get in touch with me, because I can check my email from home. I check it several times a day, and you can write an email to my Jeff State account from any address. So from Yahoo, from Gmail, it doesn't matter. Every student who registers at Jeff State is assigned their own Jeff State email address. So various times during the course of the semester, I will send an email to you at that address, or sometimes I'll send an email to the entire class. So please make sure that you are checking your Jeff State email regularly, because you're responsible for anything that I send to that address. If you don't usually use your pipeline or your Jeff State email, you can go in and set the option to forward. So you go into your email account, there's a little tab at the top that says options, and then you can type in a forwarding address anywhere you usually check your mail. So Gmail, Yahoo, and what'll happen is when I send an email to you or to the class, it'll bounce to that outside address, and you'll still be able to check it without logging into Pipeline. But the college is going pretty much paperless with all of our communication. So if you have an overdue library book, if you have a balance due on your account with enrollment services, all of that communication is going to come to your Jeff State email, or if you set it to bounce or to forward, it'll come to that address. So please make sure that you are checking that regularly, because anything that we send to you, you're responsible for. There's also a telephone number on here. This is the telephone number in my office. I do return emails, I do return phone calls, but it takes me a little bit longer to return phone calls because I can only check my voicemail while I'm on campus. So give me about 24 hours to respond to any question you have about an issue in the class. So say for example you're in the Monday, Wednesday 10:15 class and you have an essay due. Don't send me an email at 9:30 and expect me to be able to read it and to respond to you in time. Give me about 24 hours before you need an answer to your question to make sure that I have time to read it, to find it, to think about it, and to respond to you. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the textbooks for the class. There are two that are very much required and one that is very useful but is not technically required. And I don't have the textbooks with me today, but I am going to put pictures of them somewhere else on this page. I'm not sure exactly where, but look for photos of those textbooks to confirm that you're buying the right one. So the main book that we're going to be using is the Bedford Introduction to Literature. It's a really thick book. It has the short stories, the drama, the poetry in it. If you took English 101 at Jeff State, you probably already have a copy of this book. So that's good news. You don't have to buy a second one for 102. We are going to be doing a lot of reading in class, and there's really no way for you to do a good job or to get a good grade in this class unless you're keeping up with the reading. So it's very, very important that you have a copy of this textbook. If you're waiting for financial aid to come in, I realize sometimes that can take a couple of weeks. So there's a copy of this book on reserve in the library. And to get that book, you just go to the desk in the library, you tell the librarian you need the Bedford Intro for 102, and they'll let you borrow it for a couple of hours. You can't take it out of the library with you, it has to stay there, but there is a photocopier machine, so you can photocopy even the first several reading assignments and just bring the copies to class. But there's really not a way for you to do well in the class unless you're doing the reading. So whether you actually own a copy of the textbook or you do photocopies of the reading assignments, you have got to read. So all of these books you can find in the Jeff State bookstore, and they're organized by discipline and then by class. So if you go to the Jeff State bookstore, you'll look for the English section, then you'll find the 102, and then you should see all these books sitting there on the same shelf. On your syllabus, though, I've also included the ISBN numbers, which are the numbers that booksellers use to keep track of these specific books. So if you wanted to order these books online, you could also do that. So where you get them is not really important to me, but it is important that you have each of them for the reading over the course of the semester. Okay, so the big book that we're going to read is the Bedford Introduction to Literature. There's also a second book that we're going to be using in the middle part of the semester, and I tried to choose the cheapest option available so that you wouldn't have to spend too much out of pocket for textbooks. But this is a copy of William Shakespeare's play Othello, the Moor of Venice, and the version that we're going to be using is the Dover Thrift Edition book. It's pretty thin. You can find it for $2, maybe 99 cents, so it's not very expensive. But I do want you to have this specific copy of the book, because as we talk about the play in class, I'll be referring you to specific page numbers, so I need you to be able to find those specific pages. So it's available for free online, but I want you to spend the $2 and actually get the copy of the book so that we're all literally on the same page when we're discussing this play. But we won't need that for a couple of weeks into the semester, so if you have to wait to buy it, or if you have to order it online and wait for it to be shipped, you'll be fine if you don't have it for 3 or 4 weeks into the semester. The third book that's listed on your syllabus is called the Successful Writer's Handbook. This is the handbook that you used in 101. It's also the same handbook that we use in all of the English classes here at Jeff State, so you may already have a copy of this one as well. It's really useful as a grammar handbook. It contains rules for MLA style, for writing research papers, for formatting your works cited page. So lots of good information there. It's basically our playbook for grammar and for research and citation. There's a copy of this on reserve in the library as well. So if you can't buy all 3 of these books, the Successful Writer's Handbook is probably the least important for you to have right off the bat, but you do need to make sure that you have access to it, because when I grade, I'm going to use the rule numbers from this handbook, and on your paper just write like 42A, 42B, and I'll expect you to know what I mean by 42A, and that's a reference to a rule number in the Successful Writer, so I need to make sure that you can find that information to look up what the problem is.